I just ask that everyone on the line just, have an open mind for the next few minutes as we have this conversation, because typically there are some people, I may have said the word submission and they started to cringe a little bit. The title of this training is The Vow of Mutual Submission, which I did not create on my own. I took the name of that title from a book called An Outrageous Commitment. And there are two parts to this. The first one being, what does it look like to submit to your leader, which is what I'm going to emphasize and focus right now. But I did want to also mention there is another part to submission when it comes to this business and this industry, and that's leadership being able to submit to their team. So I just wanted to preface with that first, because I don't want anybody to get uncomfortable and feel like this is only one-sided, okay? And we're going to start off with what exactly submission means. What does it mean truly to submit? It means to accept or yield to a superior force or to the authority or will of another person. That's one definition. The second definition that I'm really going to focus on, family, is subject to a particular process, treatment, or condition. Subject to a particular process, treatment, or condition. Now, in the book, Dr. Elmore says that submission doesn't mean allowing yourself to be dominated. So anyone that was freaking out about that, go ahead and release that right now, okay? It doesn't mean that you're allowing yourself to be dominated. It means you willingly choose to yield, right? To pull back, to voluntarily adjusting yourself to the altogether unique business that you have chosen, to the team that you have chosen, to the leader that you have chosen. And I'm saying that, family, using myself as an example. When I said yes to Legal Shield, exactly what that looked like was Miss Simone invited me to see information. I saw the information, and then she invited me to participate in the thing that I had just seen. And when I said yes to Miss Simone being my leader. I said yes to being a part of Performance Family, even without me knowing what Performance Family was at the time. I said yes to the business that is Legal Shield and the things that are tied to it. I am an adult. Everybody who has an associate agreement is above the age of 18. And so even if you didn't fully understand all of the benefits that you were going to gain, you willingly said yes, right? In some level, shape, or form. And so you agreed to the things that came with that, okay? Now, stick with me. Every single last one of us, we hear this all the time, that there are three specific things that we need in order to build a successful business. We have to be coachable, we have to have a burning desire, and we have to be willing to work. Okay, we have to be coachable, have a burning desire, and a willingness to work. I believe that the underlying theme to all three of those characteristics is submission. What do I mean by that? In making the decision that I'm going to be coachable, I'm willing to do what I'm told. I'm submitting to the treatment. If I agree and I say that I have a burning desire, I'm willing to commit to the goal. I'm submitting to the process. And if I'm willing to work, family, I'm willing to do what it takes, I'm submitting to the conditions. And I'm going to break that down in greater detail, all of those. But I want for everyone on here to realize that this is a moment that we get to hold ourselves accountable for the decision that we made to show up for ourselves. This is that moment, right? Miss Simone wants for me to win, but I did not say yes because she wants me to win. I said yes because I want to create a savings account. I said yes because I want to travel. I said yes, right? Like, I made the commitment to me. And so this is the moment where I get to decide to follow through with the commitment I made to myself, for whatever the reason may be. And we all have the opportunity to do that right now. And so let's really break down, really, first and foremost, being coachable. I'm willing to do as I'm told. When you say yes to this business and to this industry and to Legal Shield, to becoming an associate, you're submitting to the treatment. I'm going to use our compensation plan as an example. Every single last one of us starts as an associate. We all start at the same exact position. And your compensation is a direct correlation to the activity that you put in. In other words, we all start as associates. We're given the benefit of the doubt. Legal Shield does not say, hey, I'm going to wait 3 months. You're going to be on probation. And after 3 months, we'll see if you're still willing to commit to what you said you were going to do. Like, that doesn't happen. You're an associate. You stay an associate, right? Unless you decide otherwise. And as you do a little bit of work, you get a little bit of pay. You get your first, right? We all start with potential. You do a little bit more work. Maybe you've made it to your senior associate position or to core rank of manager. You get paid a little bit more, right? You're doing more activity. And then Some of us go for qualifying positions. You are senior director and executive director. You're doing more work, more activity, and you get paid more, right? That $308 or whatever it is for that family plan, whatever that may be. Our activity is a direct correlation to our pay. If we don't do the activity, we don't get paid, period, right? LegalShield does not pay us. The more we work, the more it is that we get paid. I want to relate that to coaching, because our activity is a direct correlation to the coaching that we receive as well. And some of us are unwilling to submit fully to the coaching that comes with this. Mrs. Gardner had said it some weeks back. Our coaches give us suggestions on how to build. And then we get to decide whether or not we're going to put into play the suggestions that they give us. But submitting to the coaching that I'm going to receive means that I'm going to earn my leader's time. If I don't put in the correct amount of activity, I don't expect that my coach is going to give me more of their time. What does that look like from the very beginning? We are all associates, and we have our game plan interview. That may be 10 minutes, depending on your leader. That may be 30 minutes, depending on your leader, right? Whatever that time is. They start off by giving us time. That's the potential that comes at the beginning. They start off giving us time. And then they give us an assignment. And when they give us that assignment, then they come back around and say, hey, did you make that list? And depending on your activity, the coach now has to determine whether or not they're going to give you more of their time. And I want for us to realize that the importance of us honoring our leaders' time, because they start off giving it to us. It's not even as if they say, hey, figure it out from the beginning by yourself. And then if you figure it out, then I'm going to show up for you. What's beautiful about the coaching is that literally works the same as our conversation. They start off giving us extra. They give us the benefit of the doubt. And then we have to decide to show up. Will I submit to the leadership that I've been given here? Right? That's the first one. And I can go a lot of different places, but I want to stay on time there. The second one, family, is having a burning desire. I will commit to the goal. I'm submitting myself to the process of building this business. What does it look like to submit to the process fully? I think there are three different things. I'm supposed to say remove emotions, right? Getting our emotions out of the way. Some of us have a hard time to submit to the process because it doesn't look the way that we thought it was going to look. And because of that, we're blocking our own blessings. When you made the decision and you committed to what is that you truly desired, whatever that may have been, you have to get your emotions out of the way, because the hype is not always going to last. We're all excited at the beginning. And then the day is going to come where you don't feel like it. But if you submit to the process fully, you remove the emotions out of the way. Let's have an honest conversation about the fact that disappointment is inevitable. Not just in this business, it's inevitable in life. And so realize the fact that you're going to be disappointed, you're going to get hurt, everything's not going to go your way. Will you submit to the process anyway? Will you submit to the relationships that you've been given here as part of the process? What do I mean by that? The relationships that happen. Some of us are building our business with complete strangers. You met somebody for the first time, they introduced you the information, you said yes, right? And so you're building a relationship that never existed before. Some of us are fortifying a relationship that maybe already existed. I already knew Miss Simone when I met her, right? I mean, when she introduced LegalShield to me, right? And so what that meant, we were adding another layer, dimension to our friendship, right? As business partners. Either way, there's relationship that comes with this. And some of us are so caught up with the fact that we insist that it has to be our sponsor that builds with us. It has to be our platinum. It has to be this person or that person. And because a relationship doesn't look the way that you want for it to look, you're unwilling to submit to the process. And if you do not submit to the process completely, you will never give yourself the opportunity to hit the peak of your business. Specifically, I'll use another example. Miss Simone recruited me, my sponsor, and actually that only because, right, we talk about it all the time. My uplines are not limited to Miss Smith, Mr. Peterson, Mr. Odom, the Gardens, right, the Coins, and so on. You guys have no idea, right, the people that are in between myself and Mrs. Gardner. You have no idea the people that are between myself and a Mr. Peterson or a Mr. Odom or whomever is included in my upline. I use that as an example because I'm in New York and Miss Simone and many of my teammates, my upline, are in the Carolinas, for example. It would have been very easy for me at the beginning when I started to build this business to say, oh my goodness, Miss Simone isn't here. And so I'm not going to be able to build. I don't have the relationship. She's not next to me. But what did happen was Mr. Peterson came up to New York, taught at a Super Saturday, welcomed me to come and sit in the first row in his seat as he trained. Here's where we block our blessings. I could have said, you know what, but it's not Miss Simone, so I'm not going to go because the relationship isn't what I wanted for it to look like. We have to get out of our own way. The relationships can come from so many different avenues. It may not even be the people direct your uplines in this organization, but will you submit to the process? In fact, there are relationships involved in this business. Will you also release the additional emotions and the frustrations that we have? Family, we are people. We are in the people business. The same grace that we say to give to the people, our prospects, give it to the leadership and the people that are in this organization. No one is perfect. And so some of us get upset and we feel like, oh my goodness, my upline is only driving me to make this membership because they have a goal to hit. Is it wrong for them to push you to do the activity that's going to help your business anyway? We have to get out of our own way. Even if, and you guys all know this, Miss Simone is not this person at all, but even if Miss Simone called me at the end of the month and she was trying to hit a qualification, she said, come on, Kat, push, make a phone call, right? X, Y, Z. Some of us in this business will do things like, I'm not doing anything because she only wants me to do it for her. So I'm not going to get paid to make her upset. She's not telling me to do anything immoral. She's not telling me to, do anything unethical. It's still my business. I'm still going to get paid for the activity she's encouraging me to do, even if it's with the wrong intention, right? So I just want for us to realize this part of submitting to the process as well. Release the emotions and redirect, adapt, adjust, because at the end of the day, my name is the only one in my associate agreement. By the time it's all said and done, so submit to that process. And the third one, family, is being willing to work. I will do what it takes. I submit to the conditions, and the conditions are not going to be sunshine and rainbows all the time. Sometimes the conditions are discomfort. Sometimes they're confusion. Sometimes they're contention, and so much more than that. Success does not come comfortably. Will you submit even when you're uncomfortable? Will you submit even when it's a new experience? Because you're not always going to know what the next step looks like, and it's not going to come in the comfort of your home. All of us are not building in our beds. It doesn't work that way. You have to get uncomfortable. You didn't talk to people before. Well, guess what? Today's the day you're going to learn how to talk to people. Sometimes it's confusing. There are times we read some of these books and there are words in it that feel like are SAT words, and I have no idea what this is. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to us. Will you submit even when you don't understand? Will you submit even when there aren't details? When Mrs. Gardner is explaining to me how the correct verbiage when I'm speaking to a specific prospect, I don't need to understand it. I can trust the fact that she has over 20 years of experience in this industry. Do what she says, because we're working towards the same goal. Will you submit even when you're confused? Will you submit even when you don't agree? Contention, sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes you're not on the same page as your upline and as your team. Will you submit anyway? Will you submit if you disagree? Will you submit even when you think they're wrong? And I use that term specifically because, family, hindsight is 20/20. There are times where I have been like, Miss Simone is absolutely nuts. There is no way. This does not make sense. She has to be incorrect. I don't know what she knows, so I submit anyway. And I trust the fact that even right now, if I think that she's wrong on the other side, we can have that conversation. And again, I'm not talking about things that are unethical or things that are immoral, right? But just in terms of the activity that they're asking for us to do in this business, that's what submission is. And this has been something that's been on my heart for a long time, because I have to own up and hold myself accountable to what I agree to. I submit to Miss Simone's leadership, not because she's my best friend. I submit to her leadership because she's an incredible and phenomenal leader. She painted the vision and I agreed to participate in that vision. That was my decision to make. And so in closing, I want for us to think about a few different things before I ask the questions that are on the screen. We know, many of us have heard or know the 10 commandments, whether you believe them or not. One of the 10 commandments is honor your parents. And I want to use that as an example because it doesn't say honor your parents if you like them. It doesn't say honor your parents if they created a trust fund for you. It doesn't say honor your parents if they have made all of the best decisions in their life. It says honor your parents, period. Which means at the end of the day, if the only thing they ever did was get me into this world, I honor that. If the only thing your upline, your sponsor has ever done was to sign you up for the business, honor that. That is enough. Now you have the decision to do with it what you desire. Submit to the process, submit to the treatment, submit to the conditions, even when it doesn't look the way that you want for it to look. Miss Simone did not take me when I was a +1, and I've shared this before in the past as well. Miss Simone did not take me to Cabo St. Lucas as a +1 because I was her best friend. She ran an incentive on the team. I was the closest to qualifying, and so that's the reason I got a chance to go. And some of us have the tendency of looking at other people's relationships and being like, but I don't understand why. Why doesn't Mrs. Gardner spend more time with me? What are you doing that would earn you her time? What activity are you putting in? And this isn't shade. I don't want anybody, this isn't a fight. I really want for us to just have an honest assessment and reflection for ourselves. So I would ask you, what areas do you find it difficult to submit? What are the places that you're blocking your own blessings? Where are the places that you're drinking the poison, expecting somebody else to win, but your business is suffering because of it? Is your brand of commitment to your leadership visible and practical, or merely verbalized and well-intended? All the good vibes in the world, but does your activity line up with the things that you're saying? I show up for the performance family, and I show up for Team Evolve, and I show up for Young Pros because I made the decision to submit. And there's activity, right? Like same way we talk about marriage and love. Love requires activity. I believe, and everybody, you may feel differently, but I show up because I like the amount of work that Mrs. O'Coin and the Gardners and the Hearst and the Muhammads and everybody has done without even knowing that it was going to benefit me. That's enough for me to show up. And then will you fully submit to your vision, to your leadership, to the corporate vision? They're working so hard to put things in place, and family, we complain first, and we're biting the hands that are feeding us. Legal Shield does not owe us to put additional bonuses on the table. I heard people complain about the bonuses and incentives that came out in March, and I was just so blown. They don't owe us anything. There are so many other companies that don't have and don't do what we do. And so with that, I can go on forever. I apologize if I went over time, but I'm going to start sharing my screen. I really do hope and pray that resonated with everyone on here, family. And, it's a training for myself as well, but I would just ask for all of us to submit in a different way and capacity than maybe we have before.